Hand of the Day.
Hey guys, it's Alec Torelli. Welcome to an episode of the Hand of the Day. I told you I was going over to Phuket, and this is the villa at Anantara Mai Khao. It's absolutely incredible here, and I'm happy to bring you guys some awesome videos. Hope these are inspiring for you. So this video comes from a Hand of the Day I played many years ago in the Party Poker Big Game back in the UK. I think this was like in 2011 or 12 or something. Anyway, it's a fun hand from a 50-100 high stakes cash game. At the time, Sam Trickett opens to 400 at 50-100 blinds, early position. Jennifer Tilley to his left just calls, and I find myself mid or late position with two aces. A great spot for me, and I opt to raise to 1900. I definitely want to make a bigger 3-bet here because we're very deep. I think I started the hand with like 25,000. I think they covered me, or they had deep stacks as well. So I definitely want to be raising big here. They're both loose players pre-flop, and they can have a lot of different types of hands, and it's very likely that this flop goes three ways. So I definitely want to be charging some draws here. Pre-flop with a big raise size. And now Luke Schwartz in the small blind opts to make it 4,000 cold. Gets folded back around to me, a little bit of commotion at the table with some interruptions, but I finally get my composure together, my thoughts together to figure out a big decision pre-flop that's really going to dictate how the rest of the hand goes. So here I have a tough decision, not because I have a great hand, obviously, but because there's two viable ways to play this. Depending on your opponent, 4-betting could be a great strategy, or 5-betting, excuse me, could be a great strategy, and just trying to get all the money in pre-flop when you have the nuts. That's definitely a reasonable option. But against a player specifically like Luke Schwartz, who's loose and capable of having bluffs here pre-flop, I think calling is also a great strategy. After all, I'm only calling 2100 to win a pot of like 6700 or so I'm going to be calling pre-flop with these stack sizes with a myriad of different hands that have equity against his looser range that he can have pre-flop. So to balance that out for calling pre-flop with hands like maybe ace-queen suited, maybe even jack-10 suited, maybe some high-mid pairs, I want to be calling here with aces as well to protect my range and make myself tougher to play against. I think this goes well with my overall strategy, as I do like to play a lot of flops and make better, more effective decisions later on in the hand. So I like playing hands, I like playing flops, so I think calling fits well with my overall strategy too. I opt to call here, trying to keep his bluffs in the hand, thinking that Luke's definitely a capable player, likely to be weak pre-flop. And we go heads up for a 9,000 pound pot to the flop. The flop is great for me, 6-4-4 with two clubs. Not only do I have obviously aces in an amazing spot, but I have the backdoor nut flush draw as well, so even on club turns, my hand still has a ton of equity. So this is a great spot for me, and my plan here is just to call all the way down, trying to make my hand look weaker. Things get even better for me when Schwartz decides to bet 2200. The reason why this is an excellent spot for me is because his bet size on the flop is a quarter of the pot, which means that I'm going to be floating this flop with a lot more hands. So had he bet something like 7,000 or 6,000, which he probably wouldn't do that bet sizing, but if he did bet a sizing like this, it's much harder for me to justify calling the flop with weak hands, maybe something like ace-queen with the backdoor flush draw or something like that. But when he bets 2200, all those hands are definitely going to be calling. I'm going to have two overs. Sorry, it's super loud with these birds. I'm going to have two overs. I'm going to have a backdoor flush draw some of the time, or a flush draw or whatever, and I'm going to be calling with all those hands. Even something like jack-10 flush draw is going to call this flop as well. So there's a lot of hands that I'm going to be calling this flop with when he bets 2200, so it's great to throw aces in there because my hand doesn't look like the nuts when I call this flop. So I'm loving my strategy at this point. His bet sizing makes my play so much better. I opt to call. We go heads up to the turn. Turn is a 3 of clubs, giving me a nut flush draw as well. And he opts to bet 3,600 here. Again, really small bet size relative to the pot, so he's setting this play up for a big river jam. Here I definitely want to continue with my strategy and opt to just call. I could shove here to balance the times that I have something like ace-king with a club or ace-queen with a club or something like that. Those hands might also shove the turn as well. But at the same time, I'm getting such a good price with those hands that it doesn't make that much sense to shove with anything here. If you think about it, shoving with something like ace-queen doesn't really accomplish that much. If Luke has better hands that he's betting for value, like queens or kings or aces, or a flush, or a boat for some miraculous reason, or a straight, he's going to be calling with all those hands. So if I shove the turn with ace-queen or ace-king, there's not that many better hands that I'm getting to fold, and my hand is either way ahead or pretty far behind his range. So it doesn't really make sense for me to shove the turn with anything, and that's why I'm not going to be shoving the turn with the aces. I want to definitely have a balanced strategy here, and if he is bluffing, I want to allow him to continue. Sorry, there's a lot of mosquitoes as well. If he is bluffing, I want to allow him to continue, and if he has a better hand, well, I'm going to get stacked regardless of what I do. So I think calling is the best strategy. I lose the same amount of money when he has me beat, but when I have the best hand, I allow him to continue bluffing. So I opt to call. The river comes in offsuit king, which is a great card for Schwartz. Definitely ace-king is in his range. He could be bluffing here with ace-king a lot easier than I could be calling with it, because I might have re-raised pre-flop with ace-king. It's just more likely he has that hand based on how the hand went pre-flop. And so he definitely could be betting with that hand, and he's going to bet that hand for value on the river to try and get value from my hands like queens, jacks, or tens, nines, whatever, which are the likely hands that I have in this spot. So I think this is a great card for him. It's a good bluff by him. If he is bluffing in a spot like this, I think it's reasonable for him to bluff. And I think, he played this hand pretty damn well. I mean, he turned outs with his jack-high flush draw, and this is really one of the worst hands he's going to show up with. And this is also a good river card for him to bluff as well, because the king did hit a lot of his bluffs. Even something like king-queen with a club got there, and he might shove that as well. So I think this is a great card for him to shove, and I happen to wake up with a huge hand in a great spot, and called, doubled up, won like a 50,000 pound pot, which is awesome, and I doubled up in a huge hand. So I think the key takeaway here is adopting a balanced strategy that will help you be more deceptive and more difficult to play against. As you can see, if I just 5-bet pre-flop with my aces, I would have missed out on a huge opportunity to win a 50,000 pound pot. Likewise, if I decided to get creative and raise the flop or whatever, Luke's just going to fold, and I miss out that opportunity to win money on all his bluffs. I think a lot of people are trying to always protect their hand, and they're so worried about their opponents catching up or making a hand that beats them. And while that is true, sometimes it's a prudent risk to take in poker when you make your hand look weak, you make yourself difficult to play against, and you allow your opponent to bluff when they think your hand is weaker than it is. So this is a great example of that. I hope you took something from this video. If you liked it, you want more videos from Phuket, I'm going to be here all week at the Anantara, and we're actually going to a different Anantara in a couple days on the other side of the island, so I'll be shooting some awesome epic videos from there as well. Definitely subscribe to my channel, give it a thumbs up. I'm putting a lot of more content out, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Leave your thoughts in a comment below. How would you have played my hand? What do you think about this video? And I will see you guys next time from Phuket on my channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and cheers.